What up, guys? So, in today's video, we are gonna talk about levels of leanness because basically there are three different levels of leanness, how lean you are, and there's different specific things you need to do to achieve those different levels. So, I'm gonna talk about, you know, what kind of things, what kind of sacrifices are really necessary to get to that specific level. Okay, so let's start. Level 1, that's basically where you say you are lean, right? This is where you're lean. This is about 12 to about 15% body fat. Okay? It's about that range. Now, you are by no means fat, maybe by super bodybuilding standards, right? But by no means you're fat. You look good, you know. You don't have a shredded, six pack, but you can still maybe see a four pack. You can still see some of the veins in the arms if you have a lot of muscle mass, right? Because muscle mass is very dependent on if you can see a lot of veins because it pushes out and your veins are bigger if you have a lot of muscle mass. So it depends on how you look, right? But generally, you're gonna have a very clear outline of the abs and maybe some veins in the arms and the neck, right? Now, to achieve this level, it doesn't require any special sacrifice, right? It's just a normal diet, maybe a little bit of cardio workout, right? Anyone can basically get to this level. It's not that complicated, right? Anyone can get to this level basically. It's just maybe 8 to 12 weeks of serious dieting dependent on the level you're at now. If you have a lot of body fat, it's gonna take a lot longer, but generally it's gonna take about 12 weeks. Okay, let's say 12 weeks. That's a good goal. So then we have level 2. This is what I call ripped. If you're at this stage, you're ripped, right? So this is a body fat of about 8 to 12, right? That's the general range. Now, it also depends on your genetics, right? Maybe you hold more body fat, so you have to get a lot leaner to look as good as someone who's at a higher body fat. And also dependent on the muscle mass, like I talked about earlier. But it's about range 8 to 12 body fat. Now, at this stage, you're gonna have a lot more veins showing, definitely in your arms, maybe even a little bit in your legs, in your calves, depending on your muscle mass overall and your genetics, where you store the most amount of fat, right? Definitely in your neck, you're gonna see the veins, and you're gonna have a pretty lean six pack, right? So your abs are definitely gonna be lean. You're gonna see the whole six pack, maybe not all of the obliques, depending on your genetics again, but you will look real good. But the thing is that at this stage, you can still look good in your clothes, right? Because the fact is, there's a very special illusion in bodybuilding. Like the leaner you get, the bigger you look because your muscles have more definition. You know, you can see the veins, you can see the individual muscles without your shirt, right? So when you're lean, you're gonna look a lot bigger without a shirt, but when you put a shirt on, you're gonna look a lot smaller than if you're at level 1, right? 12 to 15%. That's the big, drawback. If you're bulking, you're gonna look real big in clothes, right? But when you take your shirt off, you're gonna look a little bit smaller and soft, because the leaner you are, the bigger you look. That's the illusion, right? But when you take your shirt off, you're gonna look awesome. So, now to get to the ripped stage, it's gonna take a little more discipline, a little more organization, right? And probably a little bit more cardio. To get to this stage, it's gonna be a little harder, okay? I think it takes about, depending on where you are, about another extra 4 to 6 weeks, right? So I think about, you can get to this stage in 12 to 16 weeks, definitely, depending on where you are. Now it's gonna take a lot more discipline to get to this stage. Maybe not everyone is really, willing to get to this stage of body fat, and you don't even need that, right? I think if you get to 10% body fat, which is pretty reasonable to get to, it's enough, man. You're gonna look great at 10%. That's what I basically do, right? Cut down to 10% body fat, bulk up to about, I don't know, 20, and then cut down back to 10%, man. That's what I do. Okay, so back to the point. Level 3, and this is shredded. Now this is a level, it's about 5 to 7% body fat. So this is where you're getting into this extreme body fat range, right? At this point, you will most likely, you will look like an anatomy chart, basically, right? Like a fucking anatomy chart. You're gonna see all the individual muscles. You're gonna see the muscle fibers in the chest when you flex it. You're gonna see veins fucking everywhere in your abs. You're gonna have shredded legs. It's gonna be fucking crazy. But not everyone can get to this level, because it's hard, right? And people are not willing to put in the amount of work it's necessary. This is gonna take 20 weeks or even more, 20, 24 weeks. It's gonna take a lot of effort, a lot of dieting, a very low calorie dieting, a ton of cardio, a ton of heavy weightlifting on top of that low calorie diet. You're gonna feel like shit throughout the whole phase of this. You're gonna be tired, you're gonna be hungry 100% of the time. You're gonna eat, you're gonna be fucking hungry. This feels like shit, and I recommend you don't even fucking try to get to this level. Except if you're a professional bodybuilder who's gonna step on stage, then it's necessary. But if you're just a regular guy, maybe do it once in your life for an experiment to see how you fucking look. But don't try to do this all the time. it's just not worth it, right? Like you're gonna look super skinny in clothes. Yeah, when you take your shirt off, you're gonna look great, but you're just gonna look super skinny in your clothes. And most of the time, you probably wear a shirt, right? So do you want to look big or do you want to look like a fucking twig? You know, it's real hard to get to this level, and it's just not worth it, right? I think if you get to 10%, that's fucking great. Maybe push a little harder to about 9, 8%, but I personally think 10% is great. At my leanest, I was once at 7 or 8%, right? And I was on a very low calorie diet. Without a shirt, I looked fucking awesome. You know, I had ripped abs, I have veins everywhere. I looked awesome. But when I put a shirt on, man, I looked so fucking skinny. And I didn't fucking realize it at the time, right? I'm not a fitness model. I want to be fucking. I'm a fucking bodybuilder, right? I care about being big, having muscle mass, and I look like a twig. I wore S shirts, extra S shirts. What the fuck, man? Right? So that was a very big mistake in my cut. But now I'm glad I went through that mistake, trial and error, right? Because I'm not gonna do that mistake ever again. The most I'm gonna cut is about to 9, maybe, nah, 10% is good, right? And when you build enough muscle mass, you can be at a higher body fat and still look good, right? If you have a lot of muscle mass, you're gonna be at 12% and you're still gonna look pretty damn good, you know? And the biggest benefit of that is gonna be that you're gonna take your shirt off, you're gonna still look awesome, and you're still gonna look big in your clothes. And that's what you wanna chase, right? You wanna look good in your shirt and without your shirt. Not looking skinny with a shirt on and looking great when you take it off. That's not the goal, right? I was a idiot back then. I hope none of you guys will ever try this, right? Because that's fucking stupid. You know, get to 10%, bulk up, bulk for 8 months to a year. You're not gonna probably be more than 20%. Just cut down, right? To about 10, 11%. See how you look, right? Thanks for watching, guys. I really hope this video helped you out. Don't forget to like, leave a comment, and definitely subscribe. It helps me out tremendously. Peace out.